has to be something, my belief is there has to be something that created all of this, all of this Halloween stuff everywhere. Of course, I have no idea what is beyond this life. That's why I'm hungry. Everyone's so fixated on living their life right now. That's why a lot of people are impatient and worried about their lives and everything. And, going through this thing that I've been going through the past couple months, I've just been like, bitch, we're always gonna be running out of money. We're always gonna be trying to save. We're always gonna do all these things, worry about all these things. So, we all don't want to live like that. And of course, it's easier said than done. And we, at some point, will realize that ourselves. But it's true. And I saw, on The View, Anna said, people have been working all their lives, saving their money, doing all this and that, worrying about the future. And then 2020 comes and this pandemic hits. And so many people get sick and die. And that made so many people realize, the time is now. We are not guaranteed next year or whenever. That's how I've been living my life, waiting for me to meet someone, waiting for this job to come along, waiting for all these things. When it's been 6 years for me, it's just if I'm gonna be waiting, might as well make the most of waiting and focus on other things. Of course, easier said than done. And it's all of this is obvious information. Like I said, emotions get in the way and you just don't realize, you don't think clearly when you're overwhelmed. We're gonna mess a lot of things up, so we just have to take a step back and really think about all these things. But at the same time, stop thinking too much about everything and worrying about what we don't know. And just going with whatever comes along and being okay with the things we can't control. So this past couple of months, I've been so worried, so stressed about everything, finding a job and all that. At this point, I'm just I really don't know. But I know things are going to be fine. It's not going to be horrible. Especially just the fact that now, being outside of that, I've been so much better, been able to breathe, I've been happier, and I've realized how miserable and I wasn't living my life when I was working there. I had the idea to do a video about the good things about working at Target, so I'm gonna make that. Because another thing that I've learned is that you have to focus so much on the good things, Okay, this is getting so off topic, I didn't even talk about death. But yeah, I'm gonna try to be positive and focus on all the good stuff and all that. So I thought that would be a good idea to make a video like that. But for this video, like I said, we of course don't know what's beyond this life, And another thing, I used to get scared of death, obviously, Oh, I could do another video about fears. What's my biggest fear? I guess I'm gonna spoil it in this one. I could do another one anyway. My biggest fear when I was little was the dark, of course. And then it was death. Once I found out about that, once I learned about that, I was so scared. I remember the day if it was yesterday. I remember being so scared. It was a rainy day. I was having sopita. And I was talking with my mom I don't want to die, Especially when you're young, you think oh, I'm just living I'm not even getting to live my life and I'm so little. I don't want to die. But then I guess I was thinking that I was going to die then. Maybe I was scared of the possibility of dying then. But even in general, it's just so overwhelming to know you live your entire life just to be nothing at the end of it. Everyone's gonna do that though. That's gonna happen to everyone. And that's why you need to make the most of every moment. That's why so many people do that and worry about that, because they're not, and it is so hard to do that when you're working 9 to 5, when you're worried about all these things, about the things that could happen and the things that are going wrong. It really is so hard to focus on the good things when you're drowning in so much horrible things. That's why it's so frustrating when people say just be happy, oh yeah, let me just be happy in this horrible stuff. For me, it's always been so weird because I'm so happy with rainy days. I love cloudy days and all things like that. I love when it's nighttime. I hate when it's a sunny day that's blue, clear sky. It makes me depressed. And the sun is beaming and I'm the complete opposite. So when people say, what do they say? The rain will pass or something like that. I'm just like, the sun will go away at the end of the day, and the rain will come eventually for a couple of days and then leave. But and there's this one quote that I love that says, instead of waiting for the storm to pass, you have to learn how to dance in the rain. Something like that. I'm gonna mess it up. For me, that quote obviously, verbatim, is like, I love dancing in the rain. I love going in the rain anyway. But like, the true meaning behind that, of course, I'm like, it's true. It is gonna be so hard to get past accepting of the storm and all that. But eventually, if it is something you have to go through, you will be able to tolerate it and you'll be able to handle it. And therefore, you will be able to learn to be okay with it, accept it, and to even be happy with it and to dance in the rain. When life gives you storms, you dance in the rain. You use it to your advantage. Of course, these are all things that should be obvious, but we're overwhelmed with emotion that we don't see it clearly and we don't know what else to do. It's only nature. Okay, we can complain, we can do all these things, okay? Don't judge people for doing all that. It's natural to do that. It's not okay to live like that. And believe me, I'm trying to do that myself, trying to practice what I preach. But anyway, all that to say, I was scared at that time about death because, to think that I would not exist anymore, out of the blue, just to be nothing, that was so scary to me back then. And my mom told me that, there's heaven and all these things, but I was still scared, even just the fact that we don't even know. As I got older, I started to realize, especially after high school, even a couple years ago, I've just been like, my childhood, it was a lot, I've been through a lot. Not to say I'm deserving of complaining, I know there's so many people that have had it so much worse. That doesn't diminish my pain. Pain is pain. It is so hard. I won't get into that because, it really depends on people. They are a different person, They always say, don't compare yourself, and then they compare yourself with that. Don't compare yourself to them when it's a bad thing, but then when they're doing all these good things, look at them over there. What the bad things are see, he has it worse than you, so don't be sad. But that's another thing, let's not get into that. But overall, my childhood, my life, from beginning to now, has been, after my grandma passed away last year, all this came to me, and really made me realize, yeah, I've lived a pretty good life, and I just, of course, really hope that my grandma can say the same, Don't make me get emotional. I, of course, hope she lived a full, beautiful life, and when she left, that made me realize how good my life was in the past, growing up till now. Maybe the past couple of years have not been the best. Not to say that my life is worse than everyone else's. Overall, I lived a good life. It was pretty good, especially my childhood. Back then, when I think back and look at all that, I had an amazing family, the best grandma. Don't do this to me. I've been so happy to have had her in my life. A lot of things came from that made me realize, I transferred after that. I tried so hard to do all these things, to make things happen, to change my life and really live and all that. So of course when that all happened, I transferred and this job was even worse and all that happened. And leaving that job, the new one, was really the last resort that I could think of. So now this is where I am now, but looking back, I am thankful, and if I were to die soon, which I've always thought, I'm gonna die young. That's why I've always been can I find my person now? Because I don't know how long I'm gonna have left. And can I live my life now? Because I don't know how long. Also, people want to be young, when you're older, you don't have, I guess you do have more opportunity to, travel the world and, have more money and all that, but you might not have all the energy. I don't even have the energy now. But of course, if I were to leave now, any anytime soon. Looking back, I'm good, you know. It was fine. Knowing the people that I've known, I'm good. Even if people have these misinterpretations of you, even if they don't actually know you as a person, hopefully they know more or less that you are not this horrible person. You know, my life was pretty good. I'm not trying to complain about everything, really. I mostly just complain about the things that are out of my control, you know, like if I stub my toe, if I trip, if I do something, like, oh, this thing isn't working, that's not working. Like, I don't mind any of that, really. Only until I build up the stress from everything else, you know, Karens and all people like that, when they have mental breakdowns. That's another thing too. They have mental illness issues, and there's just dealing with the frustrations of life building up, and then their thing is not on sale at the store. Like, there is more to that. So you need to feel your frustrations when they happen and realize where the root of your issues lay and where to really focus your energy. But anyway, all that to say, realizing all that and the fact that I was nothing at one point. You know, we were all nothing at one point. If I was nothing back then, I could be nothing now, you know. You know how people, when they're about to die, they're like, I don't want to die, I don't want to do that. Not now. I still have to live and all that. I have family and kids. I mean, that's different too. But in the end, you do have to make sure you are living right now, so that if that should ever happen, you're good. Because of course we don't know what's gonna happen. Are we gonna be reincarnated? Are we gonna be a ghost stuck on the earth? Are we gonna be a butterfly or something? Are we gonna go to heaven? Is there just gonna be nothing? Are we gonna wake up in a simulation where the real world actually is? I always felt like once you move on, you'll get all the answers. You'll know the answer to, you know, the world's biggest mysteries, like Stonehenge, or however you say that. The 7 wonders of the world. Like, you'll know all the answers. In life, there'll be answers we'll never get, and we can assume, you know. I made that video. But in the end, you really just have to be okay with what you have, and instead of finding answers, find tools that can help you. That's what I've realized. You know, I've always prayed for an answer, and I'll never get it, really. So we just need tools to help us get there, you know. This just became a life lesson, and not even about death. But yeah, that's pretty much it.